2, 1, and we're on. Okay, Katy, this is our second episode of Everybody Love Everybody. I'm Jamey.
I'm Katy.
And hope everybody's having a great week. So last week we had talked about I had finished my 200 push-up a day challenge for 30 days, and then I was moving into 1 gallon, 4 liters of water a day for, I'm going to be doing that one for 30 days, but it's only been a week since then, but I am doing great on that. I'm feeling quite a bit better, and I'm actually finding that I'm like craving more water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good. I am having to piss a lot more, but that's to be expected. And how's your challenge going, Katy?
Well, it's emotional for me, to be honest, even just doing this. So I have anxiety. So this podcast has been a real trial and like a real try on my nerves. I'm literally fighting it every step of the way, even though this is something that I actually want to do. My biggest struggle, I think, is just I want to show up as authentic as I can for everybody, because that's why we started this. So forgive me if, I don't know, you don't need to forgive me. I'm just going to show up how I am. I just wanted to say that because that is something that I'm also trying to, I guess it's a challenge for myself right now. It's not something, like I said our last podcast, I had spoke about just focusing on eating a more nourishing diet, cutting out the sugars and all that. And I have been. That's been great. But boy, have I told, like, every chance, like, emotion comes up, I go and stare at the fridge, or I open the cupboard door and I know there's nothing in there because I knew that was going to happen if I had anything come up for me. I can't have it in the house because I will eat it regardless of any commitment I have to myself. So it's just like constantly pacing. Because it has been a bit of an uncomfortable week for me.
Well, and, we were kind of talking about, the borderline of there actually kind of being an issue there. And then, you came into the office and told me the other day, you're like, well, my behaviors aren't.
Yeah. So I do, like I mentioned in the past podcast, that I have a history, or not, I don't even know if it's a history. I mean, it's something that occurs in me. It's disordered eating. Especially, I mean, I come from a history of all kinds of isms and addictions, and food seems to be my vice these days. I mean, it always has been, but it's just like, that's my thing. That's my crutch. So I use it whether I'm eating too much or I'm eating not enough. And I noticed that, I almost was getting a high off of the fact, like, at first it starts off really good because I notice, like, I'm feeling good. Like, oh, this feels good. I'm eating healthy. And then it starts, like, I feel really proud of myself because I'm like, I've eaten, like, my salads and I'm eating plant-based, like, these whole luscious, like, good foods. Like, I'm cooking dinner and, like, just taking care of myself. So that feels good. And then I start noticing, like, the inflammation and my body starts going down. So that's where it gets me, is when I start to see, like, I am someone to my body type. I can gain weight really fast and I can lose weight really fast. So, and not that was my focus, but naturally, if you're going to eat plants, like, that's just how it is, right? It's lower calories. So I started noticing that, and it's not even a conscious thing that I do. It just starts being like, oh, I'm hungry right now. Oh, look at that. I went 4 hours without eating. I can go another hour without eating.
So just like not necessarily healthy thoughts, for sure.
Not healthy thoughts. And so I have to talk about it all the time. I don't really know. That stems from something like a root cause, very deep. So, I mean, that's something we'll get into another day. But so, yes, it's a challenge. It is an actual challenge for me. Some other people.
Well, and I think the challenge is also to, you want to eat well and stuff, but the challenge is to not let it, become that kind of addictive behavior or the kind of maybe irresponsible behavior of.
Well, I don't want to feed that part of it. Like, there's two sides to it. So it's at the same time, while doing something like that, I need to be taking care of not just the physical part, but the mental part. So I think that's where I was lacking too. I think I wasn't being very conscious of my thoughts, my thinking. So I was already in a negative, low vibration, and that's just kind of where it slipped into, right? Because I've had healthy eating before, where it was very positive. I've had positive experiences, so I know it's possible.
Yeah, and I guess just coming from me, like, it's not necessarily anything I can relate to, because, like, throughout our relationship, I've noticed I can keep a bag of chips in the cupboard for, a month, and I'll be like, oh, every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I feel like having some chips today. And I go look, and oh, look, there's no fucking chips in the cupboard. Because, like, if it's in the house, you will eat it. Like, it's that. Not, and sorry, I'm not meaning to sound rude or mean or anything like that. It's just I don't understand really that kind of thinking. So it's
but
good for me to be aware.
I mean, with our histories where we come from, it's just like cut and paste whatever you want that vice to be, whether it's smoking too. Like if you have a pack of cigarettes sitting on that counter and you're trying to quit, you're going to have a cigarette.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Point.
It's just a different vice, whatever we're using. It's the same thing though, right? For whatever that is, whether it's shopping for somebody too, right? That's why some people freaking freeze their like credit cards in a block of ice. I don't know if anyone does that anymore, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, no, true. Very true. Mm-hmm. So we have kind of an interesting conversation we want to talk about this week, and I definitely know my mom's listening, so sorry, Mom. But actually, I'm not sorry, because really, there shouldn't be any shame about this. But we've kind of been having some interesting conversations about, masturbating or jerking off or flicking the bean or whatever you really want to call it. And it's kind of changed since, postpartum, since you gave birth to Zyla, and, just our sex life generally has changed. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to go a little bit further on that, like what it's been like for you, or.
I mean, I knew that going into it, it was like one of the symptoms or something I've heard like women speak about after having a child is like low libido, kind of just not really into it. And naturally for me, that brings up a lot of shame because I tend to attach I don't know, in my isms, I like to attach my value sometimes to that. So if I can't give you that, then my tank of love is getting empty. So quite often, sometimes I find myself forcing myself to do it, even though I'm not in it. I mean, naturally, it's not a bad thing either. Like, I end up enjoying it generally, like, once we get into it, but it has been a really sensitive topic for me because I have a lot of shame that comes up around it. And then just constantly feeling like I'm worried about you too, because I mean, although it's frustrating for me, I know it's frustrating for you, right? I don't know what you're like. What is it like for you? What has it been for you?
Well, I understand like in couples relationships, and we were talking about this last night, that there's going to be kind of, I don't necessarily mean ups and downs, but generally speaking, like a kind of like ups and downs. So maybe
ebb and flow.
Some months, you guys will be, or we will be having lots of sex, or other months we won't. And I'm pretty easy at like going with the flow, but I think kind of,
I do have to say too, like with postpartum, it's not even just the sex drive, it's getting to know my body again and feeling comfortable in that, because like everything changes. And it's like, even though you will tell me over and over again, like, you're beautiful, like I find you so attractive, and like nothing, you can assure me over and over again, but until I believe, like, it's just, nothing feels the same. Nothing really looks the same. So I feel like that was also like, it's not even a real problem, but it's a problem that I've convinced myself in my head. So I know that's almost like I put a wall between us because of that. But you've been really good about that.
Well, and, our roles have kind of reversed a little bit, as in, kind of earlier on in our relationship, you would kind of ask me a little bit more about, masturbating or jerking off, or like kind of, what maybe I was into, or what kind of porn I liked watching, and I was very kind of like
quiet about it,
kind of more like private. And, I grew up with two women. I grew up with my mom and my bigger sister. I didn't really have kind of like a male influence in my life, like throughout the years growing up, and especially as I was going into puberty and like into my teens. So, and actually for myself, like I hit puberty young. I hit puberty in about grade 4. So how old was I in grade 4? Like 10, something like that, 9, 10. And, so I remember going to high school, or to elementary school in grade 4, and not wanting to wear shorts because I had so much hair on my legs, and none of the other kids had hair on my legs, and just being like so self-conscious about that. Or if we like did a field trip to the swimming pool, like I was the boy who like went into the little locker room to change because I didn't want all the kids to see the hair on my nuts and on my dick, right? Like I was like super self-conscious about that. And really my dick was like way bigger than anybody else's, so
you're like,
yeah.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, like, I never really had that anybody like kind of teach me about, masturbating, and like especially growing up with two women. I don't know, it was very awkward and like taboo, kind of like as we were saying, like it wasn't. I never had like any conversations about it, so really what I learned was very misunderstood information, especially on my part. So like in grade 4, I will never forget this. So I knew somebody had told me about like how to jerk off or how to masturbate, but I didn't really understand. So I remember being in the bathroom and I was doing it, and I didn't know to like get myself like horny first or like think about like sexy shit,
Yeah.
So I like got a boner and I was like stroking myself and going and going.
I love the hand
and
motions.
I pretty much like, I think I like stroked my dick like super aggressively for like an hour and until finally, something like it felt good, and I couldn't come yet. It was like not that far into puberty. So like I got that sensation of it feeling good, but like I really had no fucking idea what I was doing. And the next day going to school, I remember the first time I had to piss. So I go into the urinal, and I swear to God, my dick was like a fucking sausage. Like it was so huge.
Swollen?
Like so swollen. Like I had just beat the shit out of my dick so bad. Like, and it scared me so bad. I was like, and I didn't know. I didn't tell anybody. Like,
Obviously.
Thank God it went away like after 2 days. But I was like, oh man, it scared me because I thought I had ruined my dick. But
Oh my God.
so, and I don't know. It's just now, as we're getting older, it's like almost like people still carry that kind of shame about masturbating, and like really, it's
almost like sinful still. Like, shh, don't talk about
Yeah,
it.
right?
Like everyone does it, but yet everyone's like they'll deny it. Especially around like with women, I feel like people still think like women are flicking the bean or whatever you want to call it, masturbating, and it's like. I mean, if you aren't, I think there probably are women out there who aren't, and I know there's like asexuals, and I don't understand that, so I can't speak for them, but I know there's like maybe some emotional damage there too, some traumas, why people won't do it, but I feel like majority of people are experiencing their bodies, and I think it's really healthy and really important, but especially with social media growing up, the things you're told, that's the thing. Well, instead of our parents sitting us down and talking to us about it, we're learning from kids that we went to school our age, and they're learning from God knows where.
Yeah.
So we have these really unhealthy ideas, and like, I thought it was a shameful thing. Like I was so ashamed of my body, and I still am. It's something that's like I've grown up with, where it's like a shameful thing. But when we previous to having, like before having a baby, like I was very open about it with you, and like wanting to take away that stigma or that the secretive away from it, because then it removed the shame. So I would push myself to talk about it, and
well, now it's like I was saying, the roles have kind of reversed. So like, yeah, we kind of haven't been having as much sex, and so the other day, Katy, I think it was like I got home late at night from work, and I went into the office and I was rubbing one out, and then Katy ended up coming in, and I hate using the word catching because I feel like that's such a big part of the problem, but like walking in, and you used to kind of tell me like, oh, you think it would be kind of hot if you walked in on me, but really, I guess, I don't know, I won't speak for you, but I guess it kind of did something to you that you did not like, and now it's kind of turned into...
There is a part in there though that, again, I am currently, I hate using the words because I don't like putting it like out into the universe, like I am depressed, but I am postpartum. So ever since then, everything has changed. Emotionally, I seem to have an emotional reaction to everything.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive. And to that, I had been struggling with anxiety and depression. I had finally, my doctor convinced me to try some antidepressants. So I think it was day 4 or day 5 of me using them, and I was already having bad psychosis effects, like bad psyche. Like it was a bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you were batshit crazy.
I was not well. I was disassociated from my body. I remember sitting in the living room and like looking at like not being able to feel my body, being like, that's a couch and that's a table and that's the wall and there's a picture, but I'm not here. Like I just kept being like, I could not get back into my body, and having that happen. So when I saw Jamey, I mean, having his moment that he is like has every right to do that, right? Which I know. But my emotions, it almost like I felt like I had like a trauma response. I was like, and I wasn't able to speak, and I tried to like play it off, and Jamey just was like very casual about it, came out, and like, but I felt, what was the word I used? Disturbed. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of shame about that because, I mean, I do it. I felt like I prided myself before on being like the carefree woman who was empowered by that and supported him. Like I liked that about myself, and now all of a sudden I was no longer that, and I almost felt very like betrayed and hurt. So naturally I went to my therapist and talked about it, and apparently it's really common, especially postpartum in women. I'm not going to go in total details, but it has a lot to do with a sense of abandonment, I think, because how did she explain it? Essentially, we are mammals, right? We are from the Stone Ages and stuff. And naturally, like the woman really relies, once you have a baby, it's our job to keep the baby safe. And then we rely on the man to keep us secure, support us, be the hunter, yada, yada, yada. So it was something about that. Like, it's just a natural instinct. So, because to me, I'm like, well, I just couldn't understand. Honestly, instead of it bringing, I think you did probably had a little bit of shame. Maybe I shamed you in that, but I think I was really ashamed by that. The fact that still am, because I'm still trying to like, I don't know what it is. So it's trying to go down under and figure out.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it kind of brought me back to, it kind of took me aback because I wasn't really expecting that from you, especially from like how you kind of were, you know, pre-pregnancy and very open about it. And so when you actually did, you know, see me doing it and then had that reaction, it was like, I wasn't expecting that reaction. And it kind of reminds me of, you know, back again in my like early teen years, and like my mom comes in the house and I'm like trying to again stroke one out and I'm like, oh my God, panic, like nobody can see me doing this or nobody can know what I'm doing, and like just that like fearful, shameful like feelings that
I actually remember being younger. When I was younger, this is like teen years, I think maybe like preteen. Again, I matured very easily as well, or very early. That too, very early. And so experiencing with that, I remember always like after almost crying and feeling like almost like praying to God, being like, again, like today, I mean, I don't believe in this, I'm not religious anyway, but I like being like, I'm so sorry, I will never do it again, and if I never do it again, like I'll do this and this. Like I just remember feeling extremely bad about it and shameful. Like I felt like, and then of course, like I didn't have that healthy outlet. I didn't know who to talk to about it. Nobody was talking about it. And I don't blame my parents either, because I don't think, especially when they were younger, I highly doubt their parents were talking about it, right? No so doubt. It just follows and it follows and it follows. And I think that's probably why we feel motivated to have this chat, is because everyone's doing it. Everyone's going through it. Everyone has these weird stories from when they were kids, especially when you're younger, like experimenting. It's just like, let's normalize it so that like the kids, our kids and their kids, it's not this shameful thing. And then that way, when I feel like naturally, when that means when there's, this is like very extreme, but when there is sexual traumas or when there is things like that, that also makes it that much easier for them to talk about. Yeah. Because that opens the table up. Because I know being in high school and stuff, getting myself in some awful situations, putting myself just around the wrong people, having some like things happen that I didn't realize at the time that weren't my fault. Like I truly was like, and it was shame, and I didn't tell anybody. And I feel like, especially now having a daughter, it's like, I don't want to go like the pendulum and go opposite the completely other way, where it's like, I try to protect her and tell everything. But I do know with Zyla, my goal and my intention is to be as honest as possible. Like I want to make it known that she can come and talk to me, and I will use my own experiences, not just like the book, but like, well, mommy felt this way. This is like certain things, you know, like I feel like that is so important. And teaching kids about their bodies today so that it's used, they respect it.
Yeah.
Because I still to this day struggle. Like, again, I feel like with the masturbation and all that, I feel like a lot of my old stuff is coming up because I have shame. Just the fact that I am a woman and I have vagina brings up so much shame. I am shameful of my body, and there's nothing wrong with my body, but just because I am a woman and I have a vagina, I feel shame.
I know. And we were talking about this the other day, and it's another thing that, well, I don't have a vagina, so obviously I can't relate to. But even just in our own bodies, we talk, and like, I'm kind of the person who is like, I think I got fucking like really nice feet. Like, my feet are nice. They just are. And I kind of brag about them and like tell Katy, like, we'll be sitting on the couch or on the end of the bed. I'm like, man, look at those feet. Like, those are nice feet. And she just like thinks it's so weird that I like look at my body that way, or like, you know,
it's foreign. It's not weird, but it's really foreign. Like, I can't relate to that. I'm like, oh, that's for you.
I appreciate my body, and I like, yeah, that's what it is. So it's, when I heard you say, you know, like you feel shameful to have a vagina, and like, you know, me, like, because I can see, I'm sure women, lots of women, and I guess I don't want to speak for any women, but from my perspective anyways, you know, with their partners, kind of like, when you're getting to that kind of getting into sex or getting into something, and I'm like, you know, hey, bend over or show me something or do this, and it's like you're shy or like feeling that shameful, and it's like, to me, I'm like, well, why? Like, I'm your partner. Like, I love you. I love your body. I think you're beautiful and amazing. Like, so then you kind of telling me that, you know, just, I guess the way society deems it that you're supposed to look in the way,
a certain way. Like, for me, it's like, I spend a lot of time, and I know this is so bad, and I feel like I am so aware, and I am such a smart person, but yet I have such insecurities about that, and like, I'm not able. I just really, I can't remember what we were even talking about for a second there. What?
About being insecure or shameful about your vagina.
Oh my God. Yeah, like, I just take it away. You got to carry on for me right there. I just had a total brain fart.
Well, really, I think we're kind of going to be wrapping this up here. And the last thing I think we were going to be talking about was kind of a self-care thing for you, because you were kind of in some shit again today.
Yes, every day, it seems. It's so simple, like... Ugh, it's so easy. Like, writing it down on paper. I'm a lister. Like, I love making lists, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to plan my week, and like, I'm going to meditate for 10 to 15 minutes every morning. And, I'm going to go for like a walk, even if it's only 20 minutes a day. And I'm going to eat 3 healthy meals a day. Like, just those, they're so simple, and it's almost like it's so important for our survival, but it's so fucking hard. Like, I can't seem to like, and I think that comes from a lack of love, really. Well, no, and that's like, so annoying to me.
When you get into the anxiety, and it's not even the depression part, I think it's mostly the anxiety in those moments.
It's anxiety.
Because you like flipped probably like 3 or 4 times today. Like,
I fought hard, especially doing this podcast and everything. And it's not that I don't want to. I want to. That's why there's such an inner battle within me. It's just, I've spent like so much of my life, pretty much all my life, just keeping all this shit on lockdown. And that's why I've never really stayed put in one relationship. It would always go until it got hard. And when it came to the point where I couldn't keep this on lockdown, like my crazy or whatever, that's when I would split, and I would find some excuse, and I literally convince myself that it was the other person. Like, I'd be like, yep, it's their fault, so I got to get out of here. But really, it's just, and I always use this like scenario, like, whereas like Jamey is the rock and I am this balloon on the end of a string, just like flopping in the wind. And that literally is how I was today. And almost, it's like caring for a toddler. I feel like there's the part of me that knows better, and then there's like the inner child that's just like temper tantrum and is like spinning. It's a tornado and it's like up and down. And then I've got this. So there's almost like there's three people, man. And then there's the inner critic, which really I realize it's not my head. It's like all the voices I've heard growing up, the programming, like you're not enough. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like who? Like feeling like I need to present myself in a very pretty, perfect box. And when I realized, I actually had a really good conversation with my sister today. She called me and she was super pumped. She watched the preview of our first podcast that's supposed to be coming out. And she was pumped. And she reminded me, although Jamey tells me this all the time, sometimes it's like the last person I want to hear from because I know he's right and it just pisses me off. But her just telling me like that, the reason, my why, like I said that on the last one, but I didn't actually explain why because I think my anxiety got carried away. My why is because I feel like people are starving for real conversation. Like people are starving to see other people's messes so that they know it's okay for them to be a mess too. And like realizing like, because I know there's going to be people out there that will reject me, but there's also going to be people, like a flood of people being like, oh my God, me too. Or yeah, you were so, like giving people that inspiration and the strength or the empowerment they need so that they can show up however they are. I mean.
Yeah. And like this definitely like just getting to that point. We talked about this last time too, of not giving any fucks about what other people think and just truly living authentically, not putting on a show for other people. And, you know, that includes our parents. That includes our siblings. That includes all the people close to you, putting on a show for what we think they want or what they want to see or, you know, what they want for our lives. And it's just...
It's funny, though, because I find that I almost do it the most for people that I don't even know. Like, person at the gas station who's pumping next to me. Like, that, like, like, what? I'm never going to see that person again. Even if I do, like, they probably don't even remember me. Like, just, it makes no sense. Why are we programmed this way?
No, and that's why definitely one of the huge reasons for me starting this podcast is to practice. Because if you want to get good at something, you got to practice. And that includes relationships, that includes sports, that includes basically anything in life. Business, you want to get good, you practice, right? And so what a great way for us to practice this, I think, and then share our experiences with everybody else. And especially, you know, even with like the challenges like we're talking about, I want to try and, again, not influence people, but just show people kind of what we're doing and say, hey, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I can try bettering my current state with a 30-day challenge of whatever it is that you can grow towards.
Yeah.
I think this week even, I'm going to keep on with the health track of the challenges. So I'm going to start doing 5 kilometers a week running. And then I've knocked back because I did finish my 200 push-ups a day challenge. I am still doing some push-ups, but I'm not doing the 200 a day. But I am on the water still for like another 20 days or something. And then I'm going to start this running one as well. And it's just, it makes me feel good. It puts me in a high vibration. I'm feeling good at work. I'm feeling good after work. I'm feeling good at home. And it's like...
Well, and the thing is, like, you're able to maintain that because you're taking such good of yourself even when I'm down here. Like we're talking, like you're not coming back, like coming down to meet me to try to, like, you're just staying up here and I'm just doing my best to get up to where you're at. And it's motivating me. It's keeping me going. Like and I'm sure it annoys some people, the people that don't want to grow, but I know that people at work, like you say, are probably like Jamey's always so happy and Jamey's, you know, it's inspiring, it's motivating.
Yeah, except for when I'm yelling at passengers.
Also, I just feel really good about this. Today it was a shift, it was an up and down, and my goal is just keep doing what I'm doing and keep showing up here as authentic and real as I can and keep providing you guys good content, like just letting you guys see me as I am. And as always, I love and I appreciate the support from all of you. Just already, like we have just begun and it's been amazing.
Yeah, truly amazing.
Yes, really good. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, so don't forget, guys, we have a YouTube channel as well. Everybody Love Everybody with Katy and Jamey. We're
still getting things set up, though, too, with the platforms,
yeah,
right?
For sure. We're going to be posting short clips on Facebook, and then, we're going to have the podcast out on all the podcast apps. And this is kind of a learning process for us, too, right? But we're enjoying the process and trying not to get too wrapped up in it, right? But
not take it too seriously.
Yeah, but
have fun.
it is fun, and it is a process to enjoy, and that's what I'm definitely learning, especially with my other business, right? I got to enjoy it, not just have so many expectations on when and why and what, and just like go with the flow and enjoy it. That's the whole point in life, is to just enjoy what we're doing. Living in the moment, I'm learning, is just, man, it's awesome.
Yes. Cool. That was a good one.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao.